if you would turn to page 19 in your notes packet, and if you look at the top of the page in the box there, you'll see that there are two formulas. We've got the compound interest formula, that should be familiar to you, and we have the compound continuously formula. And the thing that we just want to be very aware of is when we see this word continuously, just remember that that means we do a part. Right? Otherwise, we are going to be using this formula. And our N, remember, is going to stand for the number of compounds per year. So what does that mean? Let's look at number one. So we have $4,500. We're depositing it into a bank account, and we are paying 8% interest. Here we go, compounded quarterly. So quarterly does not say continuously, so we are going to use the first formula up here at the top. And quarterly means 4 times a year, so we would be putting in a 4 there. Okay, and let's read the rest of the question. So the rest of the question says, what amount will be in the account at the end of 6 years? All right, so let's go to it. So they're looking for the amount. So I'm going to have A equals, P stands for the principal, or that initial amount that we start with. And that's $4,500. Okay, and then we do 1 plus the rate. Please make sure that when you're putting in the rate, it's always in decimal form, not in percent form. So that's 0.08. We're compounding quarterly, that's 4 times a year. And then we're going 4 times a year times 6 years. Okay, and now you can just throw all of this into the calculator very easily. So you can pause me and do that. Alrighty, so I've got 7237.9676. I always like to go out 4 places past the decimal, and then from here we can round. It doesn't say what to round it to, so if it doesn't, let's think in terms of money. So that would be $7,237, and we're going to round this up to 97 cents. And that would be your answer. Please make sure that you're taking notes in your notes packet. Okay, number 2. So Melinda invests $80,000 of her winnings from Publishers Clearinghouse. Woohoo, lucky Melinda. She invests it at 9% compounded monthly, and they want to know how much she's going to have at the end of 20 years. All right, so very similar to what we did in number 1. So why don't you pause me, throw those numbers in, get an answer, and then unpause and see how you did. All right, so Melinda won $80,000, and after 20 years in an account that compounds monthly at 9%, look at that, $480,732.12. All right, again, if you didn't get that, if you would just make sure that you check it over, see if maybe you made a small calculator error, take notes in your packet. All right, so we're going to skip to number 4. So 4 says, how long in years will it take $10,000 to double if it is invested in an account that pays 7.5% compounded, here we go, continuously. So remember, continuously, we are always going to do a part. Okay. All right, so we have A equals, oh, wait, actually, we want to double that account, don't we? So let me take that out of there. We're starting with $10,000. So if we're doubling, then we want that end amount to be $20,000, right? And I'm starting with 10. Okay, E to the R. Remember that R always has to be a decimal. So that's going to be 0.075, and they want to know how long it's going to take to double that investment. Alrighty, so we have to try to get the t by itself, but if you look at where the t is right now, it's up here as an exponent. So I'm going to start by trying to get rid of this $10,000, and since it's being multiplied by the e right now, I'm going to divide that 10,000 out, and hopefully you see that that's going to give me 2 equals e to the 0.075t. Okay, so here's a blast from the Algebra 2 past. How do we get rid of this e? Think about that. Okay, we want to get this exponent down. It's up right now as an exponent. We want to get it down. Remember, we can bring it down in front if we ln both sides. So we are going to ln the 2, and we're going to ln the e, and hopefully you remember the value of the ln of e. Okay, the ln of e is 1. So what that does then for us is now we have the ln of 2 equals 0.075 t. Okay, so that brings that exponent down, and then now we can solve for t pretty easily. So we're just going to divide out that 0.075 to both sides. Okay, it'll cancel out on the right, and then we're going to get t equals, and we just plug that into our calculator. And that's going to give us 9.2419. All right, little water bottle dilemma there. So it doesn't tell us how to round. It says how long in years. They will always give you an amount. So I'm just going to go with to the nearest year. So let's just do that. And then that would be 9 years. Alrighty, so look at number 6. Determine how long it's going to take to the nearest tenth of a year for an investment to triple in value at a 5.75% rate. And here we go again. We are compounding continuously. So we know we're using a PERT. Now this one is going to be fun because I'm hoping that you realize something is not right here. Where's the P and where is the A? Well, we know what the A is. The A is triple whatever the P is, but they didn't give us the P. Okay, when that happens, if they don't give you an initial amount, we did do this last year in Algebra 2, but you could just pick your favorite number. It doesn't matter. I tend to go with 100, okay, because it makes my computations a little bit easier. But you could pick 1, you could pick 10. I don't like to pick 1 because, to be honest with you, then you end up with a lot of fractions and decimals, and people don't tend to like those. Okay? Now, the thing is, so if I pick 100 here as my P, okay, then I know tripling that amount would make this 300. So if you guys picked 10 here, then you'd have 30 here. If you picked 7 here, then you'd have 21 here. Either way, when we end up dividing, we're still going to have a 3. So that's why it really doesn't matter what number you pick as that P. So if it's not given, you get to decide what that P is going to be. Just make sure that you triple it in this case. All right, so then we have R, and again, remember that's always got to be in decimal form. So 0.0575, and we want to know how long that is. So like I said, right here, when I start dividing, no matter what I have, so if I had a 7 and a 21, when I divide by 7, I'd still end up with 3, just like I'm going to right now. So I have 3 equals e to the 0.0575t. Okay, now remember what we did on the last one. How do we find out what this is? How do we get that down? Okay, and remember when we have an e, we always ln, because that will cancel out the ln of e. The ln of e becomes 1. Okay, so we've got the ln of 3 equals 0.0575 times t, and then we just divide out the 0.0575. And the rest is calculator work. All right, so I've got t equals 19.1063. Now this is to the nearest tenth of a year, So let's round that to 19.1 years. And there's your answer.